The small blue light on Jack Morrison's console blinked 3 times. He rubbed his tired eyes and leaned closer. There it was again, an energy pattern unlike anything he had seen in his 15 years of space exploration. "Lisa, are you seeing this?" Jack called to his communications officer. Lisa Wells looked up from her station and frowned. Her dark hair was tied back in a neat bun, her expression serious as always. "Yes, Captain. The signal is coming from beyond Neptune's orbit. It doesn't match any known human signature." The bridge of the exploration vessel Defiant fell silent. Humanity had spread throughout the solar system since the 2100s, building colonies on Mars, mining operations on Jupiter's moons, and research stations as far as Pluto. But in all that time, they had found no signs of alien life. Until now, perhaps. What do the rules say about this? Alan Grant, the science officer, asked. His voice was steady, but Jack noticed how his hands trembled slightly. Protocol 7B, Security Chief Diane Porter said immediately. "We report it to Earth Command and wait for orders." Diane never broke rules. She believed rules kept people alive in space. Jack drummed his fingers on the arm of his chair. Earth Command was 4 hours away by signal. By then, whatever was causing the energy pattern might be gone. "How far is the source?" Jack asked. Alan checked his readings. "About 3 hours at full speed." "Sir." Jack made his decision. "Plot a course. We're going to take a look." Diane stood up. "Captain, that's against protocol." "I know," Jack said. "But we're explorers, aren't we? If we wait for permission for everything, we might miss the most important discovery in human history." The Defiant changed course, its engines pushing it toward the mysterious signal. As they got closer, the energy readings grew stronger. "It's definitely artificial," Alan said after 2 hours. "And it's not moving like it should if it were just floating in space. There are course corrections happening." Jack felt his heart beat faster. "A ship." "I think so," Alan whispered. When they finally reached the source, there was no doubt. A vessel about half the size of the Defiant drifted before them. Its design was like nothing human engineers had ever created. Smooth curves that seemed to flow like liquid, with no visible engines or windows. "It appears damaged," Lisa said, pointing to a dark section on one side. "And I'm picking up a very weak transmission." "Can you decode it?" Jack asked. Lisa worked at her console. "It doesn't match any language pattern I know, but there's definitely a repeating signal. I think someone's trying to communicate." Jack made another decision that broke protocol. "Prepare a boarding team. We're going to help them." Wearing their spacesuits, Jack led a small team across to the alien vessel. Inside, they found corridors that curved in ways that made their eyes hurt. The air was breathable, but smelled like burnt metal. In what seemed to be the control room, they found the pilot. It was dying. The alien had 4 limbs like humans, but a body that seemed more plant than animal. Its skin glowed faintly blue, growing dimmer as they watched. When it saw them, it reached out one branch-like arm. Lisa stepped forward with the translator device they had brought. The alien touched it, and strange sounds filled their helmets. "They come. Void Eaters. Warning. Prepare." The translation was broken but clear enough to chill Jack's blood. Who's coming?" Jack asked. The alien's glow flickered. Darkness between stars. "They consume all life. Warning Earth." Then the light faded completely, and the alien was gone. In the alien's control system, they found star charts. One set of coordinates was marked clearly. When they returned to Earth with their discovery, Jack tried to explain that the alien had been warning them about a threat, not threatening them. But military leaders saw it differently. They focused on words like "consume all life" and ignored "warning Earth." Within days, Earth governments united in fear. They began building weapons using technology from the alien ship. They prepared for war against an enemy they didn't understand. Jack stared at the stars from his apartment window 5 months later. Humanity was getting ready to go to the coordinates they'd found, not as explorers, but as warriors. "We got it all wrong," he whispered to himself, and I started it. But no one was listening anymore. 5 years passed. Humanity took the alien technology and built something they had never made before, ships that could travel between stars. The first and largest of these ships was called the Vengeance. The name said everything about its purpose. Commander Peter Russell stood on the bridge of the Vengeance and watched his crew prepare for their first jump to another star. They had trained for 3 years, but no one really knew what would happen when they activated the alien drive. "All systems are ready, sir," said Major Susan Kelly. She was his second in command, a serious woman with short red hair and more questions than most military officers like to ask. "Are we sure we should be going in with weapons hot?" Susan asked quietly. "What if we're wrong about their intentions?" Peter frowned. He had wondered the same thing, but his orders were clear. "The safety of Earth comes first, Major. We can't risk being unprepared." The Vengeance and 2 smaller ships, the Valor and the Victory, left our solar system in a flash of blue light. The jump was rough. Several crew members got sick, but when the stars steadied again, they were there. At the coordinates from the alien ship, they found not an invasion fleet, but a beautiful blue-green world circling a yellow star. And in orbit around that world were ships, but they weren't preparing for war. They were just living there. "We're being hailed," Susan said, surprise in her voice. On the main screen appeared a being with smooth purple skin and large, gentle eyes. It spoke perfect English. "Greetings, humans. We are the Ardani. We have been expecting you, though not quite so armed." Peter tried to hide his shock. "You know who we are." The alien, an Ardani, made a sound like soft laughter. "We have observed your planet for many years. The scout that crashed near your Neptune was supposed to make proper contact, but something damaged it on the way." Susan stepped forward. "The alien we found tried to warn us about something called Void Eaters." The Ardani's expression changed to something Peter couldn't read. "Yes, that is why we were coming to you. Please, Commander Russell, Major Kelly, we know your names and ranks. Would you join us on our station? There is much to discuss." Peter looked at Susan. This wasn't what they had prepared for. Their orders were to assess the threat and, if necessary, strike first. "It could be a trap," Susan whispered. "If they wanted to destroy us, they could have done it when we arrived," Peter said. "We'll go. Keep the ships ready, just in case." On the Ardani station, Peter and Susan met the Council of 5, the leaders of the Ardani people. Their speaker was named Ilara, an older female with wisdom in her eyes. "We have been watching your species with great interest," Ilara said. "You are unique among the sentient races we have encountered." "Unique how?" Peter asked. "You make decisions that no logical species would make. You take risks that have small chances of success. You act on feelings rather than calculations. Most advanced species outgrow such behavior." Susan crossed her arms. "You make it sound like we're primitive." Ilara shook her head. "Not primitive. Different. And potentially valuable. The Void Eaters that your dying visitor mentioned are real, Commander. They are ancient beings of energy that consume stars and planets. They have destroyed 12 civilizations that we know of." "And you think Earth is next?" Peter asked. "Not immediately, but they are coming. And here is the interesting part. All the logical advanced species in our alliance have tried to fight them. All have failed. Our scientists believe that your human unpredictability might be the one thing the Void Eaters cannot counter." Peter and Susan exchanged looks. They had come expecting to fight the Ardani. Instead, the Ardani were asking humans to help fight something else. "You're saying our insanity might be useful?" Susan asked. Ilara made that laughing sound again. "Exactly, Major Kelly. What you call insanity, we call your greatest strength. the galaxy's last chance. The Galactic Council chamber was the largest room Peter and Susan had ever seen. It was a perfect circle with seats for representatives from 27 different species. Humans were the newest and least advanced members. Council President Sylar, a tall being with 6 arms and skin that changed colors as he spoke, called the meeting to order. His voice was deep and echoed through the chamber. "We welcome our human friends to this emergency meeting," Sylar said. "The Void Eaters have destroyed another star system last month. They move faster than before." Peter listened as each species described their encounters with the Void Eaters. Some had lost homeworlds. Others had given up outer colonies to save central planets. All had tried to fight and failed. "The Void Eaters exist partly in our dimension, and partly in others," explained a scientist from a species called the Myth. "Our weapons pass through them like they are made of smoke, yet they can touch us, burn us, consume us." Susan whispered to Peter, "This is beyond anything we prepared for." Dr. Kevin Hayes, Earth's top physicist who had come with them, raised his hand to speak. Kevin was brilliant but strange. Even other humans found him odd. "May I suggest something?" Kevin asked. When Sylar nodded, Kevin stood. "What if we're thinking about this all wrong? What if the Void Eaters aren't moving through space like we do? What if they're folding it?" The chamber grew quiet. Then several alien representatives began talking at once. "Impossible. Space cannot be folded that way. The energy requirements would be—" Sylar raised all 6 arms for quiet. "Dr. Hayes, what you suggest breaks the laws of physics as we understand them." Kevin smiled. "Exactly. But what if our understanding is incomplete? On Earth, we have a saying, 'Think outside the box.' Maybe we need to think outside the universe." An Ardani scientist named Telenar approached Kevin after the meeting. "Your ideas are fascinating, if impossible. Would you be willing to work with me? I find human thinking refreshing." Kevin agreed. He also invited human engineer Olivia Martinez to join them. Olivia could build almost anything, even if the math said it shouldn't work. For weeks, the 3 worked while the council debated more traditional approaches. In their lab, strange devices took shape. Kevin would suggest ideas that Telenar called insane. Then Olivia would somehow make them work. "It's like you humans don't care that something is impossible," Telenar said one day, watching a device operate that, by all alien calculations, should have exploded. Olivia laughed. "Of course we care. We just don't let it stop us." Kevin's team made progress when he realized something important. The Void Eaters can be seen by human minds more clearly than alien minds. We see patterns in chaos that your more logical brains filter out. Telenar was confused. How is seeing chaos an advantage? "Because chaos is part of reality," Kevin explained. "By trying to make everything logical, your species might be missing parts of the universe that don't fit your understanding." One night, as they worked, an urgent message came. The Void Eaters had changed direction. They were now heading toward Ardani Prime, one of the most populated worlds in the galaxy. Sylar called another council meeting. "Our traditional defenses will be in place, but they have never succeeded before." Peter stood up. "Earth will send ships to help. We might not have your technology, but we have different ways of thinking." Many council members objected. Humans were too new, too untested, too unpredictable. "That unpredictability is exactly what we need," Susan argued. "You've all tried logic against these creatures. Let us try something else." Sylar looked troubled but nodded. "Very well. The human fleet may join the defense of Ardani Prime. The council praise your insanity. Brings better results than our sanity has achieved." As they left the chamber, Peter asked Kevin, "Do we actually have any real plan?" Kevin smiled that strange smile of his. "Not yet, but that's our advantage. The Void Eaters can predict logical responses. They've never faced humans before." Captain Eric Johnson stood on the bridge of the Earth ship Courage and watched as the strange darkness spread across space. The Void Eaters had arrived at Ardani Prime. "They don't look like ships," said his pilot, Ben Adams. "They look like holes in reality." Eric nodded. The Void Eaters appeared as moving patches of nothing, darker than the blackness of space itself. Stars disappeared as they passed. There were 5 of them approaching the planet. "Ardani Defense Fleet is taking position," reported Communications Officer Grace Miller. "They're asking where we want to be placed." Eric studied the enemy movement. The Ardani ships were arranging themselves in a perfect defensive pattern. It was logical, organized, and completely predictable. "Tell them we'll take our own position," Eric said. "And get me Dr. Hayes." Kevin's face appeared on the screen. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. "Captain, my team has a theory. The Void Eaters absorb energy in a specific pattern. If you can disrupt that pattern with random energy bursts, it might confuse them." "Random how?" Eric asked. "Completely random. No pattern at all. Have your gunners fire without using targeting computers. Tell them to follow their gut feelings." It sounded crazy, but that was why humans were here. "All ships, this is Captain Johnson. Disable targeting systems. Fire on my mark, and follow your instincts about where to aim." The other human captains acknowledged, though some sounded doubtful. The battle began. The Ardani ships fired precise, powerful beams at the Void Eaters. The energy simply vanished into the darkness, making the creatures grow larger. Then 3 Ardani ships disappeared completely, consumed by the darkness. "Fire," Eric ordered. The human ships erupted with energy blasts. Unlike the Ardani's careful aim, human weapons fired in unpredictable directions. Some shots missed completely. Others hit at odd angles. One of the Void Eaters paused. It seemed confused by the chaotic attack pattern. "It's working," Ben shouted. That one stopped advancing. But the other Void Eaters continued forward. 2 human ships, the Hope and the Liberty, moved directly into their path. "What are they doing?" Grace asked. "That's suicide." Eric watched as the 2 ships fired all weapons while flying directly at the creatures. It was a move no logical species would make, sacrificing themselves to test a theory. Then something amazing happened. Where the ships hit the darkness, cracks of light appeared. The Void Eater shuddered and retreated slightly. "All ships, focus fire on those light cracks," Eric ordered. The remaining human fleet poured everything they had into those small weaknesses. The Void Eater's darkness began to shrink. After 3 hours of battle, the Void Eaters retreated, but the victory came at a high cost. Half the human fleet was destroyed, including the Hope and Liberty with all hands. When Eric returned to the Galactic Council station, he found a changed atmosphere. Aliens who had viewed humans with suspicion now looked at them with respect, even awe. "You sacrifice your people to save ours," Siler said during the emergency session. "No species has ever pushed back the Void Eaters before." "We did what anyone would do," Eric said simply. An Ardani counselor shook her head. "No, Captain. No logical species would do what you did. Your ships flew directly into certain death." Dr. Hayes entered the chamber with Telenar and Olivia. They looked excited. "We've had a breakthrough," Kevin announced. "The light cracks Captain Johnson's team discovered confirm our theory. The Void Eaters are vulnerable to chaos patterns that only human minds can generate." The council chamber filled with murmurs. "What does this mean?" asked Tyler. Kevin looked at Olivia, who stepped forward. "It means we can build weapons that might stop them completely, but we'll need something special to power them." "What?" Tyler asked. "Human minds," Olivia said. "We need volunteers willing to connect their brains directly to our weapons. It's never been done before. It might be dangerous." A long silence followed. Finally, Eric stood. "I volunteer." Around the chamber, other humans stood as well. The aliens stared in disbelief. "Your entire species is insane," whispered Tilanar. "Thank you," Kevin replied with a smile. That's exactly what the galaxy needs right now. 1 year passed. On a moon orbiting a gas giant far from any inhabited world, humans and aliens built a special research station. They called it Hope Station. Inside, Dr. Nancy Wright led a team of scientists working on what many called an impossible project. The neural interface is ready for another test, Nancy said, brushing her gray-streaked hair from her face. She hadn't slept properly in days. Around her, a mix of human and alien scientists prepared equipment. At the center of the lab sat a strange device. It looked like a chair surrounded by swirling metal pieces. Wires and tubes connected it to large machines along the walls. "Who's testing it today?" asked Telanar, who had become Nancy's most trusted alien colleague. "I am," said Sam Phillips, walking into the room. Sam was a pilot who had fought in the Battle of Ardani Prime. Half his face was scared from that day. He smiled with the other half. "If my brain is going to power these weapons, I want to make sure they work right." Nancy frowned. "Sam, you tested it yesterday. The neural load is too much to do 2 days in a row." Sam sat in the chair anyway. "Time is something we don't have. Nancy, the Void Eaters have hit 3 more systems since Ardani Prime." The test began. Sam was connected to the machine through thin cables attached to his head. As the system powered up, he closed his eyes. The metal pieces around the chair began to spin faster, glowing with blue light. "Neural pattern is stable," reported a young scientist. "The chaos algorithm is forming." On screens around the room, strange patterns appeared. No alien could make sense of them, but the humans nodded in understanding. "It's working better today," Sam said through gritted teeth. "I can feel the connection." In another part of the station, Colonel Frank Harrison trained human and alien soldiers together. Frank was a tall man with dark skin and a serious face. He believed in hard training and clear orders. Again, Frank ordered as a mixed team of humans, and Ardani tried to complete a mission with random elements thrown in. "You're still thinking too logically." An Ardani soldier named Krell threw down his practice weapon in frustration. "This makes no sense. You want us to ignore the best tactical options." Frank nodded. "Sometimes, yes, the Void Eaters can predict logical moves. They've been fighting logical species for thousands of years. They've never fought humans before." "Because humans are crazy," Krell muttered. Frank smiled. "Exactly. And you need to learn a little of our crazy to survive." That evening, the Galactic Council held a special meeting on Hope Station. Xylar and other leaders wanted to see the progress themselves. Dr. Wright. Xylar said, his skin shifting to a concerned blue color. "Your reports say the weapons are almost ready, but require human pilots to guide them manually. Is this true?" Nancy nodded. "Yes. The neural interface must have a human mind directing it in real time. The chaos patterns can't be programmed." "But the delivery system requires flying directly at the Void Eaters," another counselor objected. "That's suicide." Sam stepped forward. "Not necessarily. We've designed special ships with the best shields possible. We have about a 60% chance of survival." The aliens looked shocked. One of them spoke up. "You would risk your lives on a 60% chance." "We've risked our lives for less," Frank said from the back of the room. "How many volunteers do we have now, Sam?" 327 humans, Sam answered. "And surprisingly, 42 aliens who want to join us." Xylar's skin turned a deep purple of astonishment. 42 non-humans volunteered for a suicide mission. Krell stepped forward. "I am one of them. The humans have shown us something we have forgotten. Sometimes logic must give way to courage." Nancy presented the final battle plan. They would confront the Void Eaters at the Proxima system, where the creatures were expected to appear next. Human pilots would fly ships equipped with the neural chaos generators directly into the Void Eaters' energy fields. "We cannot calculate the odds of overall success," Nancy admitted. "That's what makes it perfect," Sam said with his half smile. "They won't be able to calculate it either. The council voted. For the first time in its history, it approved a plan with unknown chances of success. Humanity's approach to the impossible was becoming contagious. The Battle of Proxima began at dawn, though in space, dawn was just a word on a clock. 300 human ships and 50 alien vessels took positions around the fifth planet. They waited. Colonel Frank Harrison commanded the operation from the main carrier. Dr. Nancy Wright and her team monitored the neural interfaces from a station safely behind the front lines. "Void Eaters approaching," reported the sensor officer. 5 large ones, just like at Ardani Prime. On the main screen, the darkness appeared, moving between the stars. The Void Eaters were bigger than before, hungrier. Frank opened a channel to all ships. "Remember your training. Don't follow patterns. Don't be predictable. Trust your instincts, not just your computers." Sam Phillips led the first attack squadron. His small, fast ship was equipped with the neural disruptor that he had helped design. 20 similar ships followed him in no particular formation. "Neural interfaces active," Sam reported. His voice sounded strange, distant. Part of his mind was already connected to the weapon. The Allied fleet scattered in what looked like complete chaos. Alien observers watching from farther away couldn't understand the battle plan. There was no plan, only controlled chaos. "This is madness," whispered an Ardani commander watching the human ships dart in seemingly random directions. "Yes," agreed Xylar, who stood beside him. "That is exactly the point." The largest Void Eater moved toward the planet, ignoring the small ships buzzing around it. It had learned from the battle at Ardani Prime and expected the same tactics. But humans never used the same trick twice. Instead of firing weapons, Sam's squadron flew directly into the creature's dark field. Their ships glowed with strange blue energy, the chaos patterns generated by human minds. "Neural disruptors at full power," Nancy reported from her station. "Sam, your brain waves are spiking. Be careful." Sam didn't answer. He couldn't. His mind was focused entirely on the connection with his ship and the weapon. Inside the darkness of the Void Eater, Sam felt something he never expected. Not emptiness, but a presence. Not hunger, but pain. The creature was alive in ways science couldn't measure. Through the neural interface, something impossible happened. Sam's mind touched the Void Eater's consciousness. Images flashed through his thoughts. A universe dying. Beings of pure energy fleeing the end of everything, crossing into this reality, seeking energy to survive. "They're refugees," Sam gasped, the words barely making it through his comm system. The neural disruptors worked, but not as expected. Instead of harming the Void Eaters, the human-generated patterns created a bridge between minds. For the first time, communication was possible. Sam's ship emerged from the darkness, trailing blue energy. The Void Eater followed, but instead of attacking, it stopped. "All ships hold fire," Frank ordered, seeing something had changed. Through the neural link, Sam conveyed questions. Through strange impressions and feelings, the Void Eater answered. "They don't want to destroy," Sam explained, his voice weak but growing stronger. "They need energy to survive. They'd been consuming stars because they don't know any other way to feed." Nancy's instruments showed something remarkable. The neural disruptors are actually converting energy into a form the creatures can absorb without destroying matter. One by one, the other ships emerged from the darkness. Some pilots looked drained, others amazed. None of the ships had been destroyed. The largest Void Eater moved back, away from the planet. The others followed. "What's happening?" Frank asked. "I think," Sam said slowly, "we just negotiated our first ceasefire with the Void Eaters." The news spread quickly through the fleet, then to the Galactic Council. Species that had been fighting and dying against the Void Eaters for centuries couldn't believe what they were hearing. Humans didn't just find a way to fight them. Xylar told the emergency council session. They found a way to talk to them. Across the room, alien representatives looked at the humans with new eyes. The creatures they had called insane had done the impossible twice now. They had fought the enemy and then made peace with it. No logical species would have even tried. 6 months after the Battle of Proxima, the galaxy had changed. On a special station built between stars, humans and Void Eaters met regularly. Sam Phillips had become the chief diplomat, his mind uniquely tuned to communicate with the beings that once threatened all life. They call themselves the Remnant, Sam explained to the Galactic Council. They are the last survivors of the universe that existed before ours. The council chamber was silent as Sam continued. When their universe died, they found a way to cross into ours. But the crossing changed them, made them hungry for energy in a way they never were before. And they couldn't communicate with us until now, asked Tysalar. Our minds are too different, Sam said. Logical thought patterns are invisible to them. Only the chaos of human thinking creates bridges they can cross. In a laboratory nearby, Dr. Kevin Hayes and Olivia Martinez worked with Ardani scientists on a new project. After weeks of testing, they called a special council meeting. We found a solution, Kevin announced. His wild hair stuck out in all directions, making some aliens stare. The Remnant need energy, but not from living worlds. We can redirect their hunger. Olivia stepped forward with a device. This attractor creates energy patterns that will guide the Remnant to dying stars and black holes. Those sources have more energy than living worlds anyway, and harvesting them harms no one. Will the Remnant agree to this? Asked an alien counselor. San nodded. They never wanted to destroy life. They were just trying to survive in a universe they don't understand. Through our neural links, we've already explained the plan. They're willing to try. The first test came a month later. A Remnant being followed a ship piloted by Sam to a dying star at the edge of the galaxy. Using the attractor device, Sam showed the Remnant how to feed without destroying habitable worlds. On the observation ship, Jack Morrison watched with wonder. The captain who had made first contact years ago now led the cooperative mission with the Remnant guide. It's actually beautiful, Jack whispered as the darkness of the Remnant surrounded the dying star, absorbing energy that would have been lost to space. The success changed everything. Within a year, the Galactic Council was reformed. Humans, once seen as dangerously unpredictable, now held leadership positions. The Remnant, once feared as destroyers, became allies who shared knowledge from a universe that no longer existed. On the anniversary of the Battle of Proxima, representatives from all species gathered for a celebration. Even the Remnant sent a representative, a swirling darkness that hovered beside Sam. 1 year ago, we thought this day would never come. Siler said, his skin glowing with happiness. We face the future now not in fear, but in hope. After the ceremony, Kevin found Jack staring out a window at the stars. Thinking about how it all started, Kevin asked. Jack nodded, with a mistake. I misunderstood the warning from that dying alien. I thought it was threatening us. That mistake saved the galaxy, Kevin said. If humans had approached this logically, we'd have either hidden from the Remnant or tried to destroy them. Neither would have worked. Our greatest weakness became our greatest strength, Jack said softly. That's the human story, agreed Sam, joining them with the Remnant representative floating beside him. The aliens still don't understand why we take such risks, why we try impossible things, why we connect with beings that terrify us. Through the neural link, the Remnant shared a thought that Sam translated for the others. They say that in their universe, beings evolved toward perfect logic and lost their ability to imagine. That universe died because no one could think of a way to save it. Jack looked at the swirling darkness with new understanding. And our universe will live because humans are just crazy enough to try. Not crazy, Sam corrected with a smile. Just human. The galaxy needed a little humanity all along. Around them, aliens and humans mingled, learning from each other. Species that once looked down on humans now studied their philosophy, their art, their chaotic way of thinking. The insanity that humans had been ashamed of had become the galaxy's salvation, and in saving others, humanity had found its place among the stars.